Welcome to Empowered Senior Living. Do you ever find yourself surprisingly tired, even when you haven't done much? Or perhaps that get-up-and-go feeling? It's just sort of gone, hasn't it?
That sounds very familiar, Daniel. I think many of us, as we get older, can feel that way and not quite understand why. It's not always from a big physical exertion.
Exactly, Laura. And if that resonates with you, our viewers, you are not alone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's really important for any of us over 60. The silent habits draining seniors over 60. Are you doing these?
Silent habits. So that implies these aren't the obvious culprits like lack of sleep or overexertion?
That's right. These aren't the glaring energy vampires we usually think of. Instead, they're subtle, sneaky routines that can slowly deplete your vitality without you even realizing it. Recognizing these quiet culprits is the first step to reclaiming your zest and enjoying life to its fullest.
That makes so much sense. Identifying the problem is half the battle, isn't it? So what kinds of habits are we going to be focusing on today?
In this video, we're going to explore 6 of these common habits together. And more importantly, we'll discover simple, actionable ways to shift them, helping you feel more energized, more alert, and ready to take on each day.
I'm looking forward to that. And I remember you mentioning there's one particular habit at the end that might surprise many people.
Yes, do stay tuned, because that last one is something many of us do without a second thought. Yet, it can have a profound impact on our daily verve. Before we dive in, if you find value in videos like this that offer life-changing advice, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more helpful content to people just like you.
Absolutely. All right, Daniel, let's get started with that first habit.
All right, let's begin. Number 1, the just one more thing. Trap before resting.
Oh, I can picture that one. It's so easy to fall into that mindset, especially when we want to get things done. Can you give us an example?
Let's talk about Julie. Julie is a wonderful woman in her late 60s. She loves her garden, enjoys spending time with her grandkids, and is active in her community. But Julie has a habit. She'll often think, I'll just finish weeding this one bed, then I'll rest, or I'll just make one more call for the bake sale, then I'll sit down.
And I'm guessing that then never quite arrives as soon as she intends.
Precisely. The problem is that then often gets pushed further and further back. She keeps pushing to do just one more thing before allowing herself a proper break. This habit is a subtle energy drain because it leads to accumulated fatigue. You never truly recharge your batteries fully.
And I suppose rest starts to feel like something of a luxury rather than a necessity.
It does. Instead, rest feels like a reward that has to be earned. Over time, this constant pushing doesn't just tire you out during the day, it can also impact your sleep quality at night.
So how do we break free from this trap, Daniel? Especially when there's so much to do, or we feel responsible for getting everything accomplished?
That's a great question. First, try scheduling short, non-negotiable rest periods before you feel exhausted. Think 10 or 15 minutes of quiet time, maybe with a cup of tea, without looking at your phone or TV. Just be present and let your body and mind rest.
Scheduling it in sounds helpful. What else?
Second, break larger tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks with built-in breaks. And finally, practice conscious stopping. When you start to feel tired, acknowledge it and give yourself permission to stop, even if the task isn't finished.
I can see how that might be challenging for some who are used to always completing things. How did Julie do with these changes?
When Julie started implementing this, she set a timer for a 15-minute recharge, break mid-morning and mid-afternoon. At first, it felt a bit odd to stop in the middle of something, but very quickly, she noticed she had more sustained energy for the rest of the day. She wasn't feeling so depleted by dinner time.
That's a fantastic result from a relatively small change. What about you, our viewers? Do you find yourselves falling into the just one more thing pattern? Share your experiences or tips for taking those vital pauses in the comments below.
Now let's move on to number 2, the Sipping Sabotage, mild chronic dehydration.
Dehydration. That's something we hear about often, but perhaps don't always take seriously enough, especially if we're not feeling overtly thirsty.
Exactly. This is one that so many of us can be guilty of without even knowing it. Julie always had her morning coffee, maybe a glass of juice with lunch, and an iced tea in the afternoon. She thought she was getting enough fluids, but she'd often forget to drink plain water.
And was she noticing any symptoms?
Yes. Lately, she'd noticed more frequent headaches and a general feeling of sluggishness, especially in the afternoons. The thing is, our bodies need water for almost every function, including energy production. Even mild dehydration can cause fatigue, brain fog, difficulty concentrating, and even irritability.
And I've heard that as we get older, our thirst mechanism might not be as sharp as it once was.
That's a very important point, Laura. As we age, our sense of thirst can diminish. This means we can easily become dehydrated without realizing it.
So what's the solution? It seems like just drink more water is easier said than done for some.
It does take consistency. Keep a water bottle visible on your kitchen counter, bedside table, or in your bag, and aim to refill it a certain number of times each day. Start with an achievable goal, perhaps 2 or 3 refills. You can also set reminders on your phone or watch.
What about foods? Can they contribute to hydration?
Absolutely. Eating water-rich foods like cucumbers, watermelon, oranges, and celery also contributes to your overall hydration. And if plain water seems boring, try adding a slice of lemon, cucumber, or a few berries to make it more appealing.
How did Julie implement these tips?
Julie bought a nice reusable water bottle and made it a habit to fill it in the morning and sip throughout the day. Within a week, her headaches had lessened, and that afternoon slump wasn't nearly as bad. It was a small change that made a big difference.
That's amazing. So, for those watching, are you a good hydrator, or is this an area you could improve? What are your favorite ways to stay hydrated? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And next up, Daniel?
Next is a very common one. Number 3, the comfort food. Quick fix, relying on processed foods and sugar for energy.
Oh, this one I think everyone can relate to. When we're tired, it's so easy to reach for something sweet or convenient for that quick pick-me-up.
It is. When Julie felt tired, especially mid-afternoon, she'd often reach for a cookie or a pre-packaged pastry from the pantry. It gave her a quick burst, but then an hour later, she'd feel even more tired. It's a vicious cycle.
That spike and crash energy cycle. Why do these quick fixes backfire in the long run?
The problem with these quick fixes is that they cause a rapid spike in blood sugar, followed by a sharp drop, what we call an energy crash. This not only leaves you feeling more fatigued, but often leads to cravings for even more sugar. Plus, these foods often lack the sustained nutrients your body actually needs for real, lasting energy.
They're like a band-aid that doesn't address the root issue. So, how do we fuel our bodies for sustained energy instead of those peaks and valleys?
Focus on whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats. These provide a steady, slow-release source of energy. Plan for healthy snacks. Keep nuts, seeds, plain yogurt, fresh fruit, or hard-boiled eggs readily available so you have a better option when hunger strikes.
Reading food labels is important too, isn't it? I'm always surprised how much hidden sugar is in things.
Very important. Get in the habit of reading food labels. You'd be surprised how much hidden sugar is in many processed foods, even seemingly healthy ones. And when you do crave something sweet, reach for fruit first. If you still want a treat, try pairing it with some protein or fiber, like a few almonds with a small piece of dark chocolate, to slow down sugar absorption.
How did Julie change her snacking habits?
Julie started keeping a bowl of mixed nuts and dried fruit on her counter and reached for that instead of cookies. She also made an effort to include more vegetables with her lunch. Those mid-afternoon energy crashes became much less frequent, and she felt fuller for longer.
That's a great testament to making better food choices. What healthy snacks do you, our viewers, rely on for an energy boost? Do you notice how certain foods affect your energy levels? Share your wisdom. Now, Daniel, let's move to the next point.
All right. Number 4. The shrinking social calendar. Not actively nurturing connections.
This can be a bit of a sensitive one, Daniel. As we age, our social circles can naturally change for various reasons.
It is, and this can be a tough one to talk about, but it's incredibly important. Since Julie's husband passed away and a couple of close friends moved away, Julie found her social life wasn't what it used to be. She sometimes hesitated to call people, thinking she might be bothering them, or it felt like too much effort to organize an outing. She was spending more evenings alone than she wanted to.
That's very understandable. And why is this considered an energy-draining habit? Many might think being alone would conserve energy.
Because meaningful social interaction is vital for our mental and emotional well-being. We are social creatures. Loneliness can be as detrimental to health as smoking and can significantly drain motivation and energy. When we feel isolated, it's easy to slip into a state of apathy. Positive connections, on the other hand, can energize us, give us a sense of belonging and purpose.
So, how do we proactively nurture those connections, especially if we're feeling a bit hesitant or unsure how?
Don't wait for others to reach out. Take the initiative. Make that phone call, send that text, suggest that coffee. Explore new avenues for meeting people. Join a club, take a class, or volunteer for a cause you care about. Libraries, senior centers, and community groups often have a wealth of options.
And maintaining existing relationships is just as important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Don't forget to nurture existing relationships. Schedule regular catch-ups with friends and family, even if it's just a weekly phone call. In today's world, embrace technology. Video calls can be a wonderful way to connect with loved ones who are far away.
What did Julie do to expand her social circle?
Julie made a point of calling an old friend each week and joined a local book club. She was nervous at first, but quickly found she really looked forward to these interactions. They left her feeling uplifted and more energized and gave her something to look forward to.
That's wonderful to hear. How do you maintain your social connections as you get older, our viewers? Are there any groups or activities you found particularly rewarding? Let us know in the comments. And what's our next habit, Daniel?
This next one might seem a bit counterintuitive. Number 5. The stillness equals rest misconception. Too much inactivity.
That's interesting. Most of us think that when we're tired, the best thing to do is nothing.
It's a natural reaction. When Julie felt tired, her first instinct was to sit on the sofa and watch TV for hours, thinking that was the best way to recover. While rest is certainly important, too much sedentary time can actually leave her feeling more sluggish.
Why is that? How can inactivity make us more tired?
Because while adequate rest is crucial, prolonged inactivity can lead to deconditioning, muscle weakness, and paradoxically, lower energy levels. Our bodies are designed to move. Movement, even gentle, improves circulation, boosts mood, and can actually increase energy.
Like the saying, a body in motion stays in motion?
Exactly. There's an old saying that motion is lotion, and that's true for energy too. It helps keep our joints supple and our minds alert.
So, how do we find the right balance between necessary rest and beneficial movement, especially if we don't feel like we have much energy to begin with?
Incorporate gentle movement throughout your day. This doesn't mean you have to hit the gym for hours. Short walks, simple stretches, or even chair exercises can make a difference. Find an activity you enjoy: gardening, dancing, swimming, tai chi. The goal is movement that energizes, not exhausts.
And listening to our bodies is key too, isn't it?
Critically important. Listen to your body, start slowly, and build up gradually. And remember that even household chores, if done mindfully, count as movement. And here's a very important reminder, Laura, something we always stress on this channel. Always check with your doctor before starting any new exercise program, especially if you have underlying health conditions.
Excellent advice, Daniel. How did Julie incorporate movement into her day?
Julie started a 10-minute morning stretching routine and made it a point to walk around her garden for 15 minutes after lunch. She found these small bursts of activity actually made her feel more alert and less stiff. It was like a gentle wake-up call for her day.
That's great. What kind of gentle movement do you, our viewers, find energizing? Do you find that moving more actually helps your energy levels, even if you feel tired initially? Share your experiences. And now, Daniel, we're on to that final habit, the one you said might be surprising.
That's right. Number 6. The background buzz barrage. Constant, passive information overload.
Background buzz? What does that mean in this context, Daniel?
This is one that many of us might not consider an energy drainer, but it can have a significant impact. Julie often had the TV on for company, even if she wasn't actively watching it, or she'd scroll through news feeds on her tablet for long periods. She thought it was relaxing, but often felt mentally fuzzy afterwards.
I can see that. Many people have the TV or radio on for noise in the house. Why is that a problem for our energy levels?
Because our brains are still processing this background noise and information, even if we're passively taking it in. This constant low-level stimulation can be surprisingly tiring, contributing to mental fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and even impacting sleep. It prevents true mental rest. We live in such an information-saturated world, and sometimes giving our brains a break is essential.
So, what's the solution here? How do we create those breaks in an always-on world?
Try scheduling quiet time. Intentionally turn off the TV and other devices for set periods during the day. Be intentional with your media consumption. Choose what you want to watch or listen to, rather than having it on by default. If you're watching TV, actually watch it. If you're on social media, engage purposefully rather than mindlessly scrolling.
And what about alternatives to having noise from the TV?
Explore alternatives to TV or radio for company. Listen to calming music, an audiobook, or simply enjoy the natural sounds around you. Bird song, the wind through the trees.
How did Julie implement these changes?
Julie started turning off the TV during meals and for an hour before bed, opting for quiet reading or music instead. She noticed she felt calmer and her thoughts were clearer. Giving her mind a bit of space to breathe made a difference.
That's a powerful reminder of the importance of quiet. Do you often find yourself surrounded by background buzz, our viewers? Have you tried incorporating more quiet time into your day, and what effect did it have? We'd love to hear about it. Daniel, those were 6 very insightful habits.
So there you have it, 6 silent habits that could be draining your energy. Think about Julie. By addressing these seemingly small routines, adjusting her pacing, staying hydrated, making better food choices, connecting socially, moving gently, and finding quiet, she began to feel a significant shift in her energy and overall well-being. She felt like she'd gotten a part of herself back.
It's so inspiring to see how small changes can make such a big impact. And I think it's important to remember that there's no shame in having fallen into these patterns.
Absolutely. It's easy to fall into these patterns, especially as life changes and old habits are ingrained. But the good news is, it's never too late to make small adjustments that can lead to big improvements in how you feel every day. Aging is inevitable, but how we age is largely up to us.
So, now it's over to our viewers to reflect and take action.
Exactly. Which of these silent energy drainers resonated most with you? What's one small, manageable change you feel you could make starting this week? Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
And if this video has given you something valuable, don't forget to show your support.
If this video gave you some food for thought, please hit that like button and share it with a friend or family member you think might find it helpful. And be sure to subscribe for more practical tips for living your best life after 60.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for these insights and practical advice.
Thank you, Laura, for your great questions. Remember, folks, you have so much power to shape your energy and vitality. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Stay energized.